Simon Taylor was one of the most powerful sugar planters of his generation. He made his money from planting sugarcane using slave labour in Jamaica. Taylor's white fury descended on him in midlife, in his 40s. And it really comes from the fact that up until that point in his life, as a member of the British planter class, the world was at his feet. So the British Empire is organised around people like him and their business activities. So slave-holding West Indian sugar planters were able to make a great deal of money from their activities. They were supported by the government back at home. And although it's very difficult to make a fortune out of sugar and slavery, and Taylor's letters tell us just how anxious he was at times about this whole process, it was possible to make incredible fortunes and to feel as a sugar planter that the world belonged to you and that the future was yours. And that changed for Taylor in around the 1780s with the rise in particular of the Abolition movement, which set out to abolish the slave trade as part of a much more wide-ranging attack on the system of slavery across the British Empire through the British Atlantic, criticising it for its inhumanity and suggesting that the future of the British Empire might be one without the institution of slavery. And so for Taylor, this was a real threat to the world that he created and to his identity. And so his white fury is anger at these proposed changes to the British Empire. It's anger that abolitionists in Britain had started to campaign against the kind of activity that he's engaged with in Jamaica, to say that to hold other human beings as items of property was wrong, was immoral, and should not continue. And so for Taylor, it's that sense of his privilege being threatened by these political changes. And for him, this felt like a kind of oppression. He felt like his world was being challenged. Everything that he stood for was being challenged by these changes as people like William Wilberforce spoke up against the slave trade and more broadly against slavery. And it made him absolutely apoplectic with rage and with fury.